So did you guys catch any of the NBA final last night?
Hell yeah. I hate Luka Doncic, so that was great to watch.
You guys got?
I think that I'm rooting for the Mavericks personally, but they lost by 20 points or so, man, in that first game. It looked terrible.
Gotta be the Mavs, not the Celtics. West Side.
See, honestly, I'm okay with the Celtics winning because I hate Luka Doncic. I hate him.
Wow.
I hate his face. He's so good. Like, I will never bash how good he is because he's incredible. He's incredible to watch. That's why he's also so easy to hate, because he's so good. But I don't care if the Celtics win. It really doesn't matter. There's no one on that team that I wouldn't want to win or anything like that. Plus, Pep was courtside.
Yeah, I saw the Laker links have showed up.
The Laker links? What?
Yeah, they're saying he's gonna just he's that much of a psycho that he's gonna start coaching the Lakers pretty soon here.
He's playing
He wants to coach
chess, not
LeBron.
checkers. All the goats.
Wants to solidify his legacy, dude.
Tiki-taka.
That's how good of a manager he is. If you just give him a big purse, he'll be able to do it all.
He did a jersey swap with the Celtics coach, and the back of his obviously said Guardiola, and they gave Joe Mazzulla a City kit, and it just said Joe on the back. I hated it. I don't know why. I was like, I hate that.
Joe Mazzulla's a freak, bro. There's so many weird stories about that guy. He's crazy.
Weird.
Mavs in 6. Heard it here first.
Keon?
Yeah, I mean, I think Mavs too. I don't know if in 6. I'd like to see 7 games personally. For the NBA. I haven't really watched any of the games up to this point, but if you're giving me a 7-game series, give me all 7. And I think it's possible, although I really don't know. Celtics could sweep them, dude. They look that much better.
I'm thinking Celtics in 5. I want Drew Holiday to get a ring. That's who I want to get a ring.
Didn't he get one? He got one with
the
the
Bucks. He got one with the Bucks, huh?
He's
a great guy.
Holiday. But if Kyrie shows up, Kyrie was not good. He was not good yesterday. I think that was it.
He was cheeks.
If he shows up, Mavs in 6.
It's hard. Yeah, I don't know. As long as the games are more entertaining,
Agreed.
That's, I guess, all I'm asking for. I had a sweet little parlay on it that didn't hit, so that was kind of disappointing. But that's life, you know. That's life. So should we get started? Maybe talk some football.
Let's do it.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to another District Gooner Pod, brought to you by two Arsenal supporters in Washington, D.C. Episode 48, coming to you live from the bench, east to the west, joined by my two good friends, Steven and Ron. How are we feeling, guys?
Howdy. Friday afternoon, man. About to hit happy hour. Excellent. Ron, what you doing?
My noon is just getting started. It's 108 degrees already here in the valley. Feeling horrible. But otherwise, the weekend is looking great.
That's nice. It's actually like 78 degrees in the room that I'm recording right now because my AC has been broken for most of the week and they just fixed it. So it's trying really hard to bring the temperature down from like 82. So it'll take a while. It could be a sweaty pod, but it is what it is, man. I guess where we should start is we had some breaking news on the last pod. And I mean, I told you we're going to try to record on Tuesdays and hit you on Wednesdays. So of course, we're recording on a Friday. Gonna drop it to you over the weekend. We'll see how the rest of the week goes. That's just what you can expect. If you thought it was going to be something else, that's on you. But reactions, a little bit more. The City lawsuit, it's been the main talking point this week. And I was trying really hard to see what City fans are saying about it, other than what I just saw on X, which, you know, you can just take that in so many directions. So I looked for some podcasts and I thought, hey, maybe I'll listen to some City podcasts, do some Oppo research. I couldn't find any episodes that had been uploaded since like May 29th, like right after the championship. They had some reaction pods, but nothing about this. So we have a special guest for you, Ron, our local City supporter. Hey man, this is a good avenue for you to get some of your thoughts out there, huh? Tell us how the City fans are feeling.
Yeah, the City podcast that I listened to, Let Me Talk, which is hosted by David Mooney, and Sam Lee did an episode a couple of days ago about why City are suing the Premier League. Very informative. Unfortunately, it is a subscription-based model, so a casual listener wouldn't be able to just listen off the download, but I can link it to you if you'd like to hear it. Honestly, it's just tiring because ultimately I don't watch the legal process, right? I wake up on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and Tuesdays and Wednesdays to watch the people on the pitch, right? Not to watch the lawyers do their magic or to argue legal status or anything like that. And Twitter is just horrible, right? Because no one knows what they're talking about, right? I mean, everyone is going to have their reaction to things. City fans are going to have their viewpoints that City are innocent, and then, rival clubs and perhaps neutrals as well will have the viewpoint that City is automatically guilty. It's honestly hard to tell what the outcome will be based on the different floating around narratives. Ultimately, the reason why they're suing the Premier League is because they believe the Premier League rules are not in line with the rules for the UK or for England, for essentially like fair trade and fair valuation and things like that. So, I mean, I'm not going to act like I'm an expert on that. I guess it makes sense coming from that standpoint, but at the same time, when your club is suing the league it belongs to, it's never something that you're truly thrilled about by any means. I feel pretty confident about the 115 charges, or somewhat confident, I guess, and things like that, based on the previous success with the CAS ruling, when UEFA brought the charges about and CAS, the individual or independent governing body, ruled that they were innocent. And then, again, like ultimately, it's about the players on the pitch for me. I'm not really worried about the legal process. I would like some finality to it. It would be nice if this was just all over sooner rather than later. But ultimately, it's not going to change how most people feel about it either way, right? Rivals are still going to hate City. City supporters are still going to love City. No one needs validation of their club's trophies by other supporters, right? No one really cares about that. So it is what it is. We'll see how it goes. A little bit numb to it since it's been many years of this. But ultimately, I'm just looking forward to the next season and getting that started.
Yeah, I'd love to unpack there, dude. I think you're presenting a kind of very, very sort of sound view on the whole thing. Steven, do you have any reactions to share or any questions for Ron?
I do have a question. How do you feel about it? Like, not in the sense of like the whole court thing. I don't really care about that. But like personally, how do you feel about that? The chatter, like with the other fans talking about it. You guys are kind of like the thought, the general thought of like you guys being nonsense. I think you get the gist of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Right? But how do you feel?
I think it's just annoying, really. I don't think I feel really horrible about it by any means, because when I see Foden hit one from outside the box, I'm not thinking like, man, but what about the charges, right? Like, I'm not thinking about that. When Pep puts John Stones in the midfield, I'm not thinking, man, but what about the charges from 10 years ago, right? Like, that doesn't really come into play when I'm watching them play. But ultimately, that's what's going to be on Twitter and things like that. So it is a little bit annoying. I mean, I understand the hate and the how other fans would be turned off by what's been happening overall, especially with all the narratives that are floating around as a whole. But at the same time, too, my view has been that the FFP had been put into place essentially to solidify the top teams of the league at that time. That it would make it much more difficult for other clubs that didn't already have a good standing point at that time to rise above the ranks and join the top six or the big six or whatever it is. I mean, you look at different clubs around like now, right? Aston Villa just finished top 4, right? But they're still in danger in the next year or so of violating FFP rules, right? And so, there's talks of them having to sell Douglas Luiz or, some of their other players to some of the bigger clubs in England. And so ultimately, I feel like FFP as a whole has been flawed. If we broke the rules, then we should be punished for breaking the rules. But that doesn't mean necessarily that I agree with how the rules were written in the first place.
So I hear you on the FFP talk. I'm kind of struggling with differentiating the two around just what is FFP and what it is that the lawsuit is suggesting. I think for me, going back to the last pod and my initial reaction to it, I just feel like the rule on its face value makes a lot of sense to me, that you can't try to inflate your sponsorship deals because of other relationships with you being the owner of a club. Like, that rule on its own logical base just makes a lot of sense to me. And if the rules were broken, then there should be some kind of reaction to that, right? Like, actions have consequences. So I'm kind of struggling with it a little bit too. But it's interesting. And I guess the one thing to your kind of what it sounds like your perspective is you're agreeing with what I've seen online about the red cartel is the key term that's been floating around my timeline.
I mean, I don't think I sensationalize it as much as other people online and things like that. In regard to the sponsorship inflation and things like that, that piece of it has always been interesting to me, because if you go back to the CAS ruling, they had ruled that there was fair value attached to the sponsorship from the Etihad. So it's interesting that that's being called into question again when there had been already a ruling on it. Obviously, that's an independent investigative firm. So I guess it's a different independent panel that's going to be investigating it. But at the same time, I haven't necessarily been worried about that. I'm not sure about like the intricacies of what the lawsuit is actually going to be covering. And so it's hard for me to make a strong stance on it based on the fact that I don't have any knowledge of the legality of half the situations. And I feel like 99% of the people that comment on it are in the same boat, and they're just kind of following whatever narrative they see.
I agree with that. People don't know exactly what we're talking about. Talking about Chelsea. Chelsea selling the hotels like to themselves, the parking lots or whatever to themselves. Then you read comment, I'm like reading stuff about it. And then people are relating it to Arsenal and Highbury. There was also kind of like a deal there. It's like, was that not the same thing? It's kind of interesting. The difference I would say is because they were in such a deficit, they worked the books, to basically create their deficit down to a smaller number per FFP. But we don't know what we're talking about. I just want to talk about the football, right?
Yeah.
Like, to your point, I understand. I just want to talk about the games. Talking about this stuff isn't fun. Like, this to me, it's not very interesting. I think we all know there's kind of like there's a rottenness to it, I think. But that's not why we watch the game, is to like talk about this stuff. Like, this isn't the entertainment of it. This isn't good controversy. The transfer market's the good controversy. That's the entertainment, not like, I don't want to talk about legal battles. That's not fun.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you on it lacking the sort of drama or the entertainment of a live sporting event, but it has huge implications of the future of the sport that you do enjoy watching a lot, doesn't it? You don't feel that way?
I think that's not exactly what I said. You really spun that. I get what you said is correct. It is definitely changing the game. And I think if the Premier League could go back in time, they would never allow this to happen. They let it happen with Newcastle, but the rules are different. They tried to change it, but it's too late. One club's already steps ahead of everybody, and they were able to do everything. I think it's too late at this point. Like you're saying, the 115 charges, it's been 3 years. I kind of don't think anything's going to happen personally, but it's different. What you're saying, Keon, no, I don't agree with that. I think you're trying to get me there.
And I agree with that. Like, if City or anybody else were to be found guilty of breaking the rules outright, then they should be punished, right? Just because I support the team doesn't mean that they shouldn't be punished, especially when it comes to the long-term value of the game, the long-term vision of the game, and things like that. Yes, it has massive implications as a whole. It's just challenging to see some of the narratives that are going on by people that just want to react, right? If City are found guilty, I'll be happy, right? Or not guilty, then I'll be happy, right? I'll be really excited by that. But is any supporter really, or any rival really going to feel pleased by that or assured by that by any means? Of course not. Like, oh, well, City's lawyers, blah, blah, blah. Or like, OJ was found innocent as well, right? Like that kind of thing. And so, of course, that's going to come into play. It's not going to change anyone's mind. But at the same time, like, again, it's just nonsense until the verdict is in.
And Keon, I'm sitting here thinking about it. We have to talk about it. We have to, because that's the reality of the situation. But what I'm saying is, I don't want to have to talk about this. I don't think it's fun. To be honest with you, I don't want to do the research. I got other stuff going on. I don't want to have to do this, right? Like, this isn't fun to me. That's what I'm saying. I totally get it is a reality of the situation, but I'm not educated enough on it. I don't care to be educated enough on it. I want to wake up early and watch a game. That's what I care about.
Yeah, no, I mean, I hear you on all the points. And I think, Ron, the one thing you said that kind of stood out to me was about how would the other fans feel. I think it's hard. The Lance Armstrong, is it? What is it? No, not Armstrong. Is it Armstrong? The cyclist that's been going around, that comparison? That's a perfect comparison, but like, think about all the people who are competing with him. All the people who were competing with him at the time. It's how did they feel afterwards? I mean, I don't even think anyone's going to like strip you of the titles, or if any, like the verdict comes out and you're going to be fully tainted, or just going to take the trophies and give it to someone else. Like, I don't believe in that kind of thing, but I do feel like it would help a lot of fans kind of just be like, well, yeah, we saw that coming.
I don't think the Lance Armstrong situation is a perfect comparison in the first place, because like the top 25 cyclists of that time were also found guilty of blood doping. So it's not like that was rampant within the sport as a whole. And Lance Armstrong was the number one because he was the best cyclist at that time. And at the same time,
the best dope.
Right, yeah, he was full of dope. But at the same time, like, again, you need the money to be able to buy the players, but does that always work out, right? Does money the clear-cut thing that makes a team successful or not? And it's honestly no. It obviously helps a significant amount. You have to have money kind of almost as a prerequisite to be successful in the first place. But, I mean, if you put any other manager, if you put any of the other players, like, you don't know what's necessarily going to happen. And so, yeah, I understand why supporters or rivals, would help them cope better, I guess, with how the last 6-7 years have gone specifically. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't think it takes away from the sporting achievement, because ultimately City were allowed to put as much money as they wanted into the club or into their players, and they weren't giving them metal legs or anything like that, So I don't know. I struggle with that.
I feel like as of late, it's been a little bit more clear about some of the transfers that have been made. I think one of the things I always struggle with City as a club is that I haven't really seen anyone grow up with the team. I mean, I think there's Foden, but other than Foden, haven't really seen, like, I think back, they're calling us the Red Cartel, right? But if you think about the Red Cartel, Manchester United had that class of 92 where there's like multiple players that came through the academy and helped them. Arsenal have had so many academy players come and go through the years who have helped us. The whole reason we're back now is because of Saka. He's just grown up in front of our eyes, and he's going to continue to grow up. And Liverpool, I mean, Trent Alexander-Arnold, so many players like that have, Steven Gerrard, so many players like that have come and gone through these clubs, and they've relied on their youth, and they've expanded like that. Whereas I look at the other side, and it just feels like it's all just purchased and picked out from other clubs. And you look at a Grealish who's 100 million, and now can't even get into his national team. You look at a Cunha who's 60 million and he just doesn't even play. So I think those are some of the bigger situations that come from something like this that can be frustrating to the other fan bases.
Yeah, and that's fair. I think that you're totally allowed to feel that way, but at the same time, like, you have to recognize that, I mean, with the class of 92 and how successful that they were, I mean, you look at the top transfers over the last like 30 years adjusted for inflation. City players rarely get in there. It's mostly Man United players. And so obviously the best teams are always going to have the best players, and purchases are a big part of that, including, you know, Manchester United, Real Madrid, Barcelona, like I guess a little bit less Barcelona to that because they had La Masia. But at the same time, that has always been part of the game. You talk about Saka being, you know, a main contributor to Arsenal's success here, and he is, of course. But at the same time, like, you also bought Declan Rice for 100 million, and he's made a significant impact on the squad, and he's gotten to the place where, I mean, you probably should have won the title this year.
But that's part of it, Ron, that it's just, that's a one-off for us, dude. And you look back to the last 20 years, it's not like we've just been spending like that, and we've just spent a little money like that. To be fair, kind of just solidify a few spots. I hear you on it, but you look at everyone else in the team. I mean, Saliba's under 30, Gabriel's under 30, Martinelli. There's just so many players like that who've come and now are a bigger contributor to the squad because we've just invested. As a fan base, we've had to sit by and say their time will come. Whereas I look at City and I never feel like there's that player where everyone says, oh no, his time will come. Like, do you see what I mean? That's the big point for me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what you mean, or I understand what you mean, but at the same time, if you're not following the club, of course you're not going to have that same kind of connection with the club and its players, right? Like, I look at Rico Lewis, who's gotten a significant amount more playing time this year. Oscar Bob, who's gotten a significant amount more playing time this year. I mean, Phil Foden, obviously, who you had said, you know, we can't ignore just the fact that he's maybe the one big name that we're talking about here. You know, that he was a ball boy for the club as well growing up. And I mean, Cole Palmer obviously moved to Chelsea over the last summer. But at the same time, he was through the City Academy as well. So it's like, we can nitpick all day, but if you're not following the club, of course you're not going to have that same attachment to its players and the players that are rising through the ranks as a whole. I mean, Brahim Diaz was in our academy for a long time until he moved into the Real Madrid squad. And so, I mean, we can talk about these players ad nauseum, but at the same time, like, if you're not following the club, of course you're not going to have that connection. So it's a lot easier when you're talking about your own club to point out the players that are rising through the ranks, as opposed to me. I wouldn't be able to talk about any of Arsenal's players like that. Like Ethan, you had mentioned in the last episode, I have no idea who that guy is. So if he's on the squad next year, like, it means nothing to me.
Ethan.
I hear you, but I guess my other point to it all is that as other supporters of other teams, I feel like we've had to sit there and watch them start for us. That's the big part. We've had to rely on their full potential. Whereas on the City part, I hear you on Bob. He's played like 10 games, right? But you wouldn't expect that guy to be a regular starter. That's not the feeling I get, at least watching him. There aren't like regular starters. It's like, this is it. This youth core of 5 players is what you're going to have to watch 38 times this season. That's the big difference for me. What are you thinking, Steven?
Something that I've said this before is like the distortion of the market. I think that's a big issue. And it's not only City, it's like Chelsea as well, like the Abramovich era. The market is just so distorted now. It's like, you talk about other leagues, like no one can buy anybody from the Prem, right? Because the price tags in this league are so high, and it's just so you're talking about Grealish, 100 mil player, can't get into the national team. Like, that doesn't make sense, right? When you want to say 100 mil player, that's the best, the top of the line type of player. It's just like the distortion of it. So Arsenal obviously could throw down the money. Let's think of the Villas. Let's think of the Crystal Palace. They can't compete. That's where like it's continuously heading in that direction of like, we can't compete with these guys anymore. We're on a different playing field. I think that's kind of like a NBL is like, it's just not good. It just makes everybody feel rotten about it.
That's true. And I mean, to go back to your point, Ron, I mean, just last summer, we spent 200 million just to get like an inch closer. And you can't expect that from other clubs. That's kind of ridiculous, you know?
No, I agree. I mean, but the echelons are already there, right?
Yeah,
Within the league itself, right? Like, you're not going to expect Luton to pay as much money for the clubs to get into the mid-table, right? Like, Crystal Palace has spent some money. Aston Villa obviously spent money. Bournemouth spent money. Wolves spent money, right? Like, and Luton doesn't have that kind of money. And so what happened to all three of the teams that were entered the league last year? They all got relegated. And so those tiers and echelons, I think, already exist. And I agree that it's a problem. My struggle with the situation as a whole, when we're talking about like salary cap and things like that for the league, is what that means for England's clubs' participation in Europe as a whole. Because, you know, if you put salary caps on English teams, that's obviously not going to be the same for Spanish teams or anything like that. So are we just going to forego competition in the European championships and things like that?
That's one thing that's come out of it recently, right? That City have apparently threatened the league with leaving and going to the Super League.
Not happened.
No?
That's not happened. No. That's Twitter nonsense. That has never happened. See, this is what I'm talking about.
No, but
these
how would
narratives,
you feel about that?
these narratives that get floated around, and people read them, and they're like, "Yep, that's right. It sounds like City because they're horrible. This is exactly what they do." It's nonsense. It's just things that people put out that has never been substantiated by any means. And so, again, like, it's so easy to get carried away with how we view the things that are going on, and then we're talking about something that's not even happening.
The margins, like from what you just said, the margins are becoming greater and greater between the, like you're saying, the echelon between clubs. The margins are becoming greater. Top six, there's a new top six now. Takeover at Villa, they're now kind of in it. Newcastle, they got to take over, they're now in it. That's the difference between the margins now. I guess it's always kind of been about the funds, but I think it's just becoming very drastic, and it's, years to come. I guess we'll see what happens.
We'll see. Yeah, there's always an evolution with these things. Okay, so there's some other news that came out this week about the VAR. Did you see this? Apparently, Wolves had brought up a deal for other clubs to vote on this for VAR to stay or not, and it was basically unanimous. Like 19-1 was the vote on it to keep VAR, and with just the Wolves being against it. So what are your reactions to it? It to me, it feels like it's really something that's going to stay with the game for the rest of our lives, basically.
Yeah, I honestly feel like the vote itself was pretty performative. I feel like all the clubs knew, even Wolves, like when they put up the vote or put it to motion, knew that it wasn't going to pass to get VAR out of the league. I think it was a good performative gesture, I guess, because I think they did vote on trying to clean up VAR in some ways. I forget what things that they voted on specifically, but at the same time, I think if we can get VAR to the point of a little bit more accuracy, a little bit more quickness of judgment and things like that, that would be great. Ultimately, it helps. I think it helps the game, but I mean, some feel differently.
Yeah, rest of our lives, it's here to stay. I totally understand why there is a vote. I think it's more about who's using VAR and the PGMOL and all that stuff. That's a whole other discussion. Will we ever stop talking about it? I don't know. Maybe one day. I'd like to know from other leagues' perspectives, like what the thought is. Like what is their thought of VAR? When you watch a UEFA game or like a Champions League game, I think the use of VAR is typically pretty good. It's just like we're now nitpicking every little thing. I'm looking at the referees for the Euros here. I think Anthony Taylor and Michael Oliver. So you got two English referees in there. I kind of say it typically speaks for itself. I don't know if a lot of English referees get invited to the big competitions. I know Mike Oliver is typically there. I saw the video of Anthony Taylor. So the World Cup, he got rushed through the airport in Qatar because fans were all over him. I mean, it's stuff people were dealing with week in, week out in the Prem. Offsides, excellent. I think it's an excellent way to do it. The technology they're using is terrible. It is absolutely god-awful. I'm glad they're doing the automated system now. Makes so much more sense. Put it on the TV so we can see it. Do it in an instant instead of maybe showing the lines, maybe not. And if they do show the lines, someone's on their computer in art, drawing things on their screen, which is insane. Yeah, VAR here to stay. You have to get better at it, and you have to be able to understand the criticism. I don't like that. It always seems like they're just here to back themselves and no, we're doing great. This is our call and we're going to back it. It's like, no, listen to the criticism and get better at it.
Yeah, that's really well put, dude. I think speaking of other leagues, I mean, there's always talk of Italian refs being some of the top referees that you can expect. And anytime I've watched a Serie A game, the referee goes to the monitor. That's the one thing that's the biggest difference for me is every time I watch a game, I've seen a referee go to the monitor and look at it for himself. And so those are just like the little process things that have to be improved for it to be more enjoyable and more trusted. Honestly, it's not a trusted tool right now. That's the biggest issue.
Yeah, I think VAR was put in to try and eliminate controversy, and it's only brought more controversy, which is the exact opposite of intention.
What did you think about, so we went to that DC United game, and I honestly couldn't really hear the guy, but he went to the screen, he watched the call, and then he made an announcement. It's very American, just like in NFL. And NBA, when they do a review, they speak it out, they get on the mic and say it to the crowd. What did you think about that, Keon?
Yeah, I don't know how it projected on the broadcast. Obviously, that would have been nice to know. I don't really watch that many MLS games to know if the referees' feedback comes through the broadcast as well, or is it just something for the stadium? But as an attendee, I really enjoyed it, and it was great. That it was kind of hard to hear him, but it was okay. Good attempt. At least this guy's explaining the whole situation and what he saw and what he thought should now be the difference. So I'm all for it. I really just feel like it comes down to more consistency and more improved processes around what even constitutes a review and what doesn't. Just because we have the technology doesn't mean we have to also use it for every little thing. I agree with you on that. That's another issue where it's like, well, we have it, but I don't need to use it for this situation. Quick review. No, your judgment was fine.
Agreed. The day that they call a VAR review and it's like automatically overruled. I know on the last day in the Arsenal game, Arsenal-Everton, he didn't do that. But every time in the Prem, you're watching the game and he hits that little box with his fingers, it's like, oh, this is getting overturned.
That's another thing. Yeah, you always worry that it's getting overturned. You don't ever think it's going to VR and not getting overturned. And that's another problem. 100%, dude. 100%. All right. So before we get into the second part of the show where we're going to share some previews and predictions on the upcoming Euros tournament, got some breaking news coming out of the Arsenal channel on X, and they're saying that Martin Odegaard has been voted player of the season by the fans. Declan Rice got second place and William Saliba got third. That kind of ranking feels very right to me. What about you, Steven?
Fair enough. I mean, I think that's completely fair enough. 2 center mids, love it. Someone in the back line had to be in there. 2 center backs. I mean, that's fair enough, but I think we both picked Martin as our player of the season, so go to guard.
Go to guard. Back at it, dude. And it also shows, look, people love Bukayo and the stats are great, but also sometimes it's beyond the numbers. It's about just what you see and what you feel. And those 3 players have just made you feel something this season. So I'll take those votes from the fan base.
Sometimes you got to know ball.
Nice, dude. All right, let's take a break. I'll put on some hold music, and then we'll be back with a look ahead to the Euros. Okay, part 2, and the room temperature has dropped down to 75 for those of you playing at home. But let's chat about the Euros, man. It's the big talk of town starting next week. I think it kicks off on a Friday. Yep, Friday, June 14. Germany versus Scotland is the first game. Germany are hosting the tournament, actually. Have you guys been watching any of the international friendlies leading up to it?
I have not, so I'll throw it over to Ron.
I am currently watching the England-Iceland match. Iceland went up 1-0 in like the 12th minute, I want to say. Saka was just subbed on, I believe, for Cole Palmer. But yeah, this is really the first one that I've watched.
Same, yeah. I've been kind of following to see who's been getting playing time, especially on the England side. I saw that Cole Palmer and Phil Foden started this game today, but it's nice to see Saka is back on the pitch. Obviously, he didn't play in the last game of the season with that injury, so this is a good sign heading into, the actual games that are going to start. I'm sure the lineup's going to be a little different. But let's look ahead to some of the groups. Let's see the very first group. Group A is Germany, Scotland, Hungary, and Switzerland. Kind of interesting. Are you guys? Who do you think is going to win that group? Who do you think is going to qualify from it? Any players you want to call out from the squads that are playing in that group?
So it'll be obviously Germany. The second place, though, that's interesting. Scotland and Switzerland. I think Scotland got a chance.
Really?
They got McNumnuts, and they got the bowling ball John McGinn. You know that.
And they got Andy.
I think they actually got a shot. Switzerland, obviously, granted, but he might be tired. I think I'm going to go Germany, Scotland in that group.
I went for Germany, Switzerland. I feel like Switzerland are just so consistent in all of these tournaments. I feel like they always make the group stage.
I'm with you, Ron. I'm also leaning Germany, Switzerland. I think it'll be really fun to see. I think the German head coach confirmed that Kai Havertz is going to be the center forward for the national team. So
King Kai, dude.
Dude, I put on a
say his name.
I put on this crazy parlay, bro. Let me just first say, gambling can be a problem, and if you are struggling with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's what the app tells me. That's what I should also probably say, right? If anyone kind of, it's a podcast, so I don't know. Whatever you hear on it, don't just act on it. Make your own decisions. But I went through and made this fun parlay of like who is going to be each country's top goal scorer for the tournament. And so I picked Kai Havertz to be Germany's top goal scorer, and I picked Leo Trossard to be Belgium's top goal scorer. And the payout's just crazy, bro. So everybody root for the Arsenal boys. Let's have some fun. And yeah, Scotland, it'll be fun to see Kieran Tierney play, I think. Hopefully, if he's healthy, right?
Yeah, if he's healthy. But Germany's a favorite, right? I think there's I've seen 5 teams called out, and Germany is one of them.
England are the favorites on the odds. England are the favorites, followed by France, and then Germany have the third best odds of winning, according to the odds makers.
So yeah, one of the favorites.
Fact check. All right, cool. It'll be cool to see Xhaka as well. Hungary, I don't really know. Sabziola is on their team, but that guy, that's an interesting signing by Liverpool. Not really talked about. I feel like it's kind of a failed signing this past window.
What was his name?
He didn't Sabzi. He didn't have a great little
Sabzi
campaign.
I thought you were talking about Top Soba. I was like, what are you on about? Sabazlai?
Yeah, Sabzi.
And is Alaba playing?
I think he might be still hurt because he wasn't playing for Real Madrid in any of the European games.
Alaba's Austrian.
Oh,
I believe.
Nice.
Oh, you're right.
Fact
You're
check.
right.
All right, let's move on to Group B. Group B is a spicy one, dude. There's Spain, Croatia, Italia, Albania. So it could be a fun one. I think that's a fun one.
So I think this is a good one. I'll go Spain and Italy. I mean, those dudes in Croatia, they're getting old, man. There's no way that if they do it again, I mean, hats off to them. I'm probably going to be rooting for them, to be honest. I would prefer Spain, Croatia. I just don't think they can do it. Luka coming off the bench now for Real. He's old. Perisic, not looking great. I guess Kovacic is the young one, and he's not really young anymore. So I'm going to go Spain and Italy.
I went for Spain and Croatia because they have a beast at the back. they have Guardiola. And I will root for the boy. I'll root for Kovacic as well. And again, I think they're just tournament consistency, right? Like, they do well on a consistent basis. I feel like they have good mentality to get there. I feel like Italy always has a little poop in the drawer sometimes, you know? Like, they have the capacity to choke a little bit. And so does Spain, to be honest. But I still think Spain wins that group.
Italy are the reigning champions, so hopefully they can get out of the group with at least that. And I'll be honest with you, in a different parlay, I picked all the group winners, and I picked Italy to win this group.
Wow.
I think that's a bold call, but they definitely didn't have, like, I think the odds for Spain to win the group were like plus 1,100, and for Italy to win it, it was like minus 175. So not the best, but, or actually those were in reverse or something like that. But I think Italy can win this group. I expect Spain to have at least one draw, and I think Italy could definitely squeeze out 3-1-0 wins, dude. And they got J20 in the middle, bro, captaining the side,
J20.
I'm sure, bro.
This is the group of death, huh?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. Group D has some potential, dude. We'll get to that after Group C.
So we got. Do you think David Raya starts? Is he going to be starting keeper?
Big question, dude. A lot of things to watch for in the Spain squad, right? David Raya, will he start? I think he just started and played a full 90 in their very last international friendly game, so that's exciting. The Zubimendi guy who we've been linked with for like 2 years now, he'll be playing potentially for Spain. Nico Williams, it's another guy I've seen pop up on the timeline about potential links with him. He's a forward. I doubt it will happen, but it'll be just fun to see some of these plays. I always enjoy watching players on the international stage.
Yeah, it's the first time I saw Doku, right?
Oh,
like,
okay.
I don't think I ever saw him on the club level because he played in Belgium. But, like, you know, when he played for Belgium in the World Cup last time?
Yeah.
I mean, he was electric to watch. So outside of that, I didn't really see him. So I was excited to get him.
That's a good shout. I feel like you can always find a few new players in these international competitions. So add a little spice to the transfer market too.
100%, dude. And I think that's a great segue to Group C, because Group C includes Slovenia, Denmark, Serbia, and England. That's probably the easiest group to pick the winner, right? For me, it's England coming out of that one. But I'm excited to watch Slovenia. I mean, obviously, with all the talking points of this guy and what's his name? Sesko. We'll see, man. I watched some more comps of him, Steven. He looks like he's great at pressing, dude. So we'll take that. Well, I'll be watching for his pressing effort. His work rate on defense is what I'll be paying attention to. I already know how he is in front of goal. Shaky.
Seski. Going to be watching Seski. So yeah, England top, of course. Those other three, I honestly can't say I know much about any of them. Denmark, I guess they're still going to be rocking Eriksson, I'm assuming.
With Højlund, a couple of
and
Man
all
U boys.
Those Brentford folks are going to be playing probably. I'm going to go Slovenia just so we can see Sesko play.
I think I went with Serbia second.
Wow. That's a shout. Do you know a few Serbians?
Mitrovic?
What's that? Do I know what?
Do you know any of the Serbians? Like, will you be watching for anyone on Serbia?
No, it's just a gut feeling, man. You know? Is Milinkovic Savic Serbian? I think he is, right?
I don't see him as someone who got called up. I see Ivan Ilic. I think he's one of those players. Maybe I've used him on FIFA a couple of times. I like Tadic is in there.
Tadic, yeah.
Milinkovic.
He was like the fourth player on my list. I was like, no, I'm pretty sure. Because they have a pretty good squad. They have Vlahovic, they have Mitrovic, Tadic, Milinkovic Savic, Petrovic, Pavlovic, Jovic, Kostic.
Oh, you're talking about Sergey. Yeah, Sergey's in the squad, dude. That's on me. Milinkovic is, yeah. Gotcha. That's another player Arsenal have been linked with for a couple of times. I don't know if he'll...
City were too, yeah.
City, oh, Ron, this is one thing I didn't get to ask you, man. With, obviously, we'll try to do a Copa America preview pod eventually before that tournament kicks off, but all the links with Paqueta and Bruno G. I did want to just maybe ask you how you feel about those from a City perspective, and if you think any one of them could get done, especially with this lawsuit and everything else.
Lawsuit's not going to have any effect on ability to sign players.
Oh, okay.
Paqueta's lawsuit, however, will have plenty of things to do with whether he's going to get signed or not. I think that he's out.
They're saying lifetime ban, dude.
Yeah. I mean, like if you read some of the charges, they're pretty serious. And some of the video footage, and again, like, I don't know what's going on here really, but you look at some of the video footage and it doesn't look great. So yeah, we'll see. I think Bruno G would be the player that we'd be more all in for now that Paqueta is off the market.
Gotcha. All right, should we move on to Group D? Steven, do you have Group D pulled up?
Yes.
Who's in it, bro?
Netherlands, France, Poland, and Austria. I'm going to go France, of course. I think I'll probably pick them as my winner of the tournament. I'm going to go with France. Second, this is actually a good group, man. Wow. I'll go Netherlands. I love seeing the orange jersey, so I'll go with Netherlands as advancing.
I picked that exact same. I'm not sure about France winning the tournament just at this moment. It's not that I'm doubting them, but I haven't decided really.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool players to watch out for on the Netherlands. I think maybe this guy Frimpong. I think he's one to shout out. Frankie de Jong. Have you seen those rumors, Steven? What do you think about those rumors?
It's not going to happen. That would be cool. It would be cool, but that's not going to happen. Do you know if both of the Timber boys are in?
Neither
squad?
is in the squad. It doesn't look like it. But okay. You know who's in it, man? Xavi Simons, bro.
Oof. That's someone I would get excited about, man.
He's gross.
I really like the way he plays. There's just always something about. It seems like there's always something with him, like in his club. Like, so he's with PSG. I think they loan him out. There's just something weird going on. He's been with Barcelona for a while. It's like there's always weird stuff with his club, and like they're not gonna let him go, but he can't play in their squad. I don't know. So I doubt it'll ever happen, but I would love to have him.
Yeah, he just feels like he's one of those assets that they just want to keep, but they don't want to play. It's weird. I hear you on it, man. We'll see. I would love a player like that if we could sign. I really think Martin Odegaard needs a backup. That's a worry a little bit. France, yeah.
I don't think he goes for a team to play as a backup anywhere. He starts typically for Barca, doesn't he?
He doesn't play for Barca. He plays for
Leipzig.
He plays for Leipzig.
Yeah.
He was loaned out.
You're talking about Xavi Simons. My bad. Yeah. I was thinking about De Jong still. Yeah, I was like, what are you talking about?
No, Frankie gets into the squad, dude. Come on.
No,
I think that's the thing with Xavi Simons is he was with PSG, but he wasn't guaranteed to be starting. So he said, I want to play, and they loaned him out. And to me, it's like, how is he not getting into their team? I think he's incredible. So he could be a starter for us.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, I'm with you. I think France and Netherlands from that group. Let's see, group. Well, is there anyone else to watch out for? There's a French guy we're linked with, isn't there? Fofana? It'll be nice to see Saliba on the international stage. That's the thing, Steven, is like we haven't really had players on like legit international duty. So it's kind of nice now to have double digit of, it's an Arsenal player I get to watch. And that's actually, I think, a testament to, we're always talking about how deep our squad is. And if you really think about it, we have like maybe 13 international players. And I'd like to get to 18, where it's club and country, 18 players playing. That I think is a big, good measure for your quality of squad.
Yeah, it's crazy. We had J20 join, Euro champ. But yeah, for real, it's been quite a while. Thinking, did Per Mertesacker and Ozil, were they with us when they won the World Cup?
Oh, I don't know if they're... No, I think Ozil was at Madrid when he won the World Cup.
Okay. Yeah, we haven't had many exciting summers watching international competition.
Just Xhaka, and you can only rely on Switzerland for so much.
But maybe having y'all talking about maybe a starting goalkeeper. Obviously, we'll have some guys in the English team. Hopefully Saliba starts. Yeah, maybe we'll actually have some players to watch. King Kai.
King Kai, dude. Never forget him.
All right, dude.
Which today I saw links coming out about this Wirtz guy who is potentially moving to Real Madrid in 2025. It's crazy how Real Madrid signings I know about like 3 years in advance. And they come true. That's the weird part. They all come true.
Yeah, his dad came out because there were a lot of links with, I think, Liverpool, us. I think Arsenal were linked as well. And I think his dad came out and said that he was going to stay at Leverkusen for at least another year. And maybe probably make the move over with Xabi Alonso to Real Madrid.
Rich get richer, as my co-host says, bro. All right, Group E, man. Ron, do you have it pulled up? Who's in that?
Yes, we have Belgium, Slovakia, Romania, and Ukraine. For me, I picked Belgium to win the group, and then I had Ukraine. I don't know much about Slovakia or Romania, so it's hard for me to have any confidence about picking them above Ukraine.
That's an interesting group. Obviously, Belgium stands out. The whole gold generation that's never actually done anything. Except beat the United States in a World Cup. Barely. Remember that? Barely. Wondolowski, if he could have finished the ball. Maybe not, but that's the Tim Howard game for those listening. Watch the highlights.
Was it 18 saves?
Yeah, something crazy like that. Game of his life. So Belgium. I'll go Slovakia, because why not? I don't think Romania, they're very good. Then you got Ukraine and Slovakia. I want to say they're probably on par with each other. I don't know much about either. I'll go Slovakia just to be that guy.
Yeah, I mean I'm with Ron. I think Ukraine and Belgium just on face value. I think on the Belgium team it will be interesting to keep an eye out for obviously Leonardo and Onana. I think a lot of the links with Onana have really picked up in the last couple of days. I'm not convinced if he's an Arsenal player. And Johan Bakayoko, I think will be fun to watch from Belgium. Rest of them, I don't really know. Ukraine, did you see the links, Steven, with a forward from Ukraine?
I have not seen those. Who is that?
I can't pronounce his name, dude. His name is so hard. I think it's Victor.
He's Swedish.
He has T in his last name. It's like TSY. I don't know.
Oh, no, that's not.
Oh, I thought you were talking Guyorkis.
Guyorkis, yeah. No, I have not seen links to that guy.
Let's see if I can pull him up.
Victor Sigankov, maybe. Maybe that's how you pronounce it. To Sigankov.
You do typically have the magic touch.
Remember Lons?
Lons.
Never forget Lons, bro. Long live Lons. All right. Group F, dude. Who do we have? We have Turkey. We have Georgia, Portugal, and Czechoslovakia. Or are they just going with Czech these days?
Czech Republic.
We covered Slovakia earlier.
Oh, yeah. That must be the other half, huh? What do you think from this group? I mean, Portugal stands out.
Yeah, I had Portugal winning this group. I believe I had Czech coming out. I wouldn't be surprised if Georgia pulls something out just because of the, they have Kvaratskhelia from Napoli, the winger. And so I'd like to see him do well. They also have a wonder kid, I believe. I forget what his name is too, but yeah, I could see that. But I ultimately picked Portugal and Czech.
Yeah, I'm Portugal and Turkey, man.
I think that's fair. I mean, it's another one like we did Ukraine and what was it, Slovakia earlier. I don't really know. Portugal, obviously, they're one of the favorites. I'll go with Czech Republic because why not?
I think Turkey is going to surprise a lot of people this tournament. I'm telling you, Turkey
guy. Wow.
Turkey are going past the first round of the brackets too. Look for them in the quarterfinals. I think there's one guy we're linked with in Turkey, that Orkan Kokcu, I think. So could be
looking for him.
Look for him. I think he wears number 24.
Yeah, Orkan Kokcu.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. Steven, you
They had
said
the kid from Real.
Oh, Ardar. Yeah.
Goulet.
Yeah. Steven, you said France is gonna win it all. I think Germany is going to win it all. Where do you stand, Ron?
I think it's coming home. I think England have a great shot. I think with Foden and Saka and Rice and Kane up top. I was reading a tweet the other day that if that there are no Tottenham players in the England squad, and so they were saying it would be so Tottenham if England were to win the Euro this year without any of the Spurs players.
Do it to him. Just do it to him.
So good.
Who's the starting back line for England?
It'll be Walker, probably Gomez or Gahey from Crystal Palace, Stones, and then Trippier will play left back.
That to me is where I think there's a problem. Because I saw Maguire got cut. Not saying Maguire should start, but I thought he was kind of like a sure thing. So I was like, who's playing center back for them? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, he's injured. I thought Southgate would have picked Branthwaite from Everton, and he didn't. He picked Lewis Dunk, who I don't think is that great anymore. I thought that he would have brought Branthwaite and Grealish, honestly. I thought that was a really shocking omission, Grealish.
It feels like it's one of those situations where Louis Dunk is, like 36, maybe 38. Just could be his very last Euro. And then...
There's no way.
You don't think he's that old?
Fact check him. Somebody fact check this guy.
Well, part of it is that there's no way he's that old. He's 32. And the second part of it is that there's no way that factors into Southgate's like, oh, it's his last one. We should bring him along, huh? Like, there's no way.
I think it factors into it, for sure. I think that's why he didn't pick the Everton kid, because he says I can take him to more tournaments.
You would think that. I think that choosing someone else would have been smarter. I rate Lewis Dunk. I actually like the way he plays. But I think it has to be for a certain type of team. Brighton, I'm surprised. It may be because he actually is good on the ball because he plays for Brighton. But like in an Everton team, I see him being like fantastic in that team. Like a Sean Dyche type team, low block. He blocks a ton of shots and stuff like that. This England team is so talented, man. So we're talking the midfield is crazy. Their midfield's nuts. And you got Gahey, maybe he's all right. Stones, he's all right. But if one of them go down, like yikes, I think that might be we're calling for trouble.
I think he's going to be playing 3 in the back most of the tournament. I think that's why Louis Dunk is in, because he's good in a 3 center back situation. So I'm backing Louis Dunk, obviously. I think he's my guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he scores a header this tournament. Watch out for him on corners, bro.
It sounded like you were calling him Luis Dunk for a little while. So it's like he's Spanish now. Ooh. I think England are going to be great. But yeah, like if it's one injury, like they're pretty done. And did you see that Tony made the squad? I was really surprised about that because he has not had a good second half of the season when he returned. Like he had the first game, but like other than that, he's not really done very much.
He had the free kick. He'll always be remembered for that free kick.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens if they don't win it. Southgate sacked in the morning.
It's time to go.
It's going to be really hard for them to win it. I really think Germany is well positioned to lift the trophy at the end of it all. And yeah, we'll see. I mean, I know we have listeners in the UK, so sorry to be the guy who tells you you're not going to win it, but that's how I feel about it.
Who's Germany's backline?
Rudiger and the guy from Leverkusen, Ta.
Oh,
they have a good backline.
Rudiger is tight. Like that dude's tough, man. Like you can hate him all you want. He's like Pat Bev, but he has the bark and the bite.
Yeah, he's actually
Pat Bev. Yeah, he's tough.
So that'll be cool. All right, well, let's try to wrap this episode up with a fun game of mystery man, huh?
Woo!
Pew 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 pew. I'll start us off. Speaking of the Euros, this player has made the most assists in the history of the tournament, the Euros. That's one hint. Second hint is that he has played in Spain, Italy, and Turkey Any guesses? Any questions you guys might have about this player? Maybe something I can shine a little light on?
Give me
Wait,
more.
what was your first one again?
He has made the most assists in the Euros history. And he has played in Spain, Italy, and Turkey. But his career started in the Netherlands, Holland. One of those Ajax prodigies, you could say.
I got it.
Talk to me.
Maybe I don't got it. Is it Schneider?
It's Wesley Schneider, dude. Big up yourself, man.
I remember him in the
Big
Galatasaray jersey. I feel like he always looked sick in that.
He was balling at Galatasaray. It was crazy. Him and Drogba, that was a fun duo.
Yeah, it's cool.
What a cool player. Probably should have won the Ballon d'Or. What a cool player he was, man.
Cool.
Little dude, but he had those, I don't say probably like 2-3 years. He was top. And you look at him now, like, that guy never played professional ball.
Bowling ball.
Yeah, 17 assists is what he has. And second place is Hazard with 15. Third place is Ozil from Germany. And Kevin De Bruyne is actually fourth place with 14. So it's possible that the record gets broken. Not impossible.
Not if
It's
Lukaku
possible.
plays.
Because he's got Leo Trossard. He's gonna be, what was it? Top scorer.
Top scorer for Belgium, dude. Watch out. Watch out for the stat sheet, boy.
He gonna bag him.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. This is actually maybe this is a little cliffhanger for next pod. This is more of a Copa type of situation. Okay. Say he's a Fulham legend, 2-time MLS All-Star, won 3 Gold Cups.
I got it.
Keon, are you there?
I think I got it too, but Ron's on a heater, so I'm going to let him go.
Is it King Clint?
King Clint. That's it.
That's good, dude. Yeah.
Texan boy.
Yeah, Texas legend. I was gonna say he's a rapper.
All right, what do you got for us, Ron?
All right. My player played in 5 different countries: Germany, England, Italy, Spain, and Turkey. He retired in 2023. He and his brother played for different national teams, and he played alongside Pato, Ibra, Nesta, Inzaghi, and Gattuso. Steven, looks like you have it.
Kevin Prince Boateng.
Hell yeah. Another cool player.
Yeah, he was tight. I actually really rated him. Always had him on Ultimate Team. Bangers.
I put FIFA Legend as one of my my clues.
He was like that, dude. That was good. All right, I think that's the first time we've gotten all 3 mystery men without any real, major hints. So that's fun. I hope the listeners got it. All right, well, Ron, we're gonna take a break now, and then we'll really start recording the pod for. I'm just messing, man. Did you have fun?
Until just now, yeah. No, I had a great time. Thank you for having me on again.
Yeah, dude. We'll see you for the Copa preview. That'll be fun. And we might have some emergency pods dropping here and there. We'll see if there's a signing that comes out of the blue. We'll definitely try to get behind the mic. But for now, thanks everyone for spending time with us. If you like the podcast, don't forget to rate or leave a review. It helps us get in front of new audiences. And hey, share it on social. It's the best way for others to find out about us. And don't forget, you can write into the show, districtgooner@gmail.com.
Be easy.